Ava sat cross-legged on a metal stool in front of a tiny yellow arcade machine, the machine's faded paint peeling to reveal patches of rust beneath. The glow of the screen bathed her face in a dim amber light, her reflection flickering as pixelated shapes danced across the glass. Her fingers hovered over the greasy buttons, pausing now and then as if weighing each move against some invisible calculus. Around her, the air was thick with the scent of old electronics, ozone, and stale popcorn, as if the machine exhaled the memories of 1,000 games past. A low hum filled the room, a sound both electric and alive, whispering promises of forgotten worlds and unclaimed victories. The game was called Shadow Circuit, an obscure title with a cult following, its cabinet adorned with swirling crimson and gold etchings of a labyrinthian world. On the screen, a lone avatar, a spectral fox cloaked in silver flames, darted through a maze of shifting tiles that seemed to rearrange themselves with every step. Ava's hands moved quickly, tapping the buttons in a rhythmic frenzy as the fox leaped over crumbling platforms and dodged streaks of shadowy tendrils clawing from the maze walls. The game pulsed with an otherworldly soundtrack, each note syncopated with the erratic beat of Ava's heart. She clenched her jaw, her breath hitching as the fox narrowly avoided a spiraling trap. A small smile ghosted across her lips when a burst of light erupted on the screen. She'd unlocked a hidden pathway, a rare achievement that sent the arcade machine trembling under her fingertips. She leaned closer, her eyes bright with focus, the flicker of determination edging out the fatigue that shadowed her face. Almost there, she murmured, her voice low and tinged with excitement, as if speaking to the spectral fox itself. The hidden pathway opened into a radiant expanse of glowing tiles, but as Ava guided the spectral fox forward, the game glitched. A jagged sound of static pierced the air, and the screen flickered violently. No, Ava muttered, her fingers instinctively pausing over the buttons. The maze ahead distorted, its tiles warping into an impossible spiral of crimson and black. Without warning, a shadowy wraith erupted from the center of the screen, its elongated claws slashing through the radiant expanse and shrouding the fox in a suffocating vortex of darkness. Where did that come from? Ava hissed, leaning back in her seat as the machine growled with a mechanical hum. The fox's movement slowed, dragging against unseen resistance, and Ava's frantic button mashing seemed useless. A timer appeared at the top of the screen, its numbers ticking down with merciless speed. 29, 28, 27. Ava's heart raced. She scanned the glitching maze for a solution. Her hands hesitated, hovering over the controls. Come on, she urged herself, her voice tight. At the last second, she spotted a faint shimmer in the corner of the screen, a fragmented beacon of light peeking through the chaos. There, she breathed, plunging the joystick forward and hammering the sprint button. The fox responded sluggishly, its silver flames dimming as the vortex clawed at its form, but it pressed forward. With the timer at 5 seconds, the fox leaped for the beacon just as the screen flashed red. A sharp metallic buzz signaled Ava's failure. Game over, sprawled across the screen in jagged letters. She stared at it, hands still gripping the controls, her jaw tightening in frustration. Damn it, she whispered, but a small smirk tugged at the corner of her lips. The challenge was set, and she wasn't one to walk away easily. All right, let's try that again. Ava slammed the buttons with renewed vigor, her determination palpable as the spectral fox tore through the remnants of the glitching maze. The tiles now shifted faster, collapsing into black pits moments after the fox's paws left their surface. The game screen roared to life with a cacophony of sound, announcing a bonus round. A burst of golden light streaked across the screen, and a shimmering orbs appeared, floating just out of reach. Yes, Ava hissed, leaning forward as the fox leaped onto a series of rising platforms. Her fingers danced across the controls, guiding the creature to collect the orbs while narrowly avoiding arcs of dark lightning. Each orb added a triumphant chime to the game's soundtrack, and the score counter at the top of the screen ticked upward in exhilarating increments. Then the maze shuddered, and a massive black salamander emerged from the shadows, a hulking figure adorned in jagged obsidian armor. Its crimson eyes burned with authority as it towered over the fox, blocking the path forward. The name, Oba Nobunga, General of Protection, scrawled across the top of the screen in bold letters, his coiled tail flexing menacingly behind him. Ava's hand faltered for half a second. You've got to be kidding, she muttered, the spectral fox already crouching in automated defense stance. Oba's deep growling voice boomed through the arcade speakers. Traveler, you tread on dangerous ground. The salamander's tail lashed forward, slamming into the maze and creating a bridge of black scales that gleamed like polished onyx. Your path continues if you are clever enough to claim it. Ava blinked, her mind racing as the fox edged closer to the bridge. The maze's timer had reappeared at the top of the screen, ticking down. 45, 44. Oba's glowing eyes locked on her avatar, and his rumbling voice offered a cryptic hint. To reach the next stage, you must mirror the patterns of the stars above. Only then shall the path reveal itself. Patterns? Stars? Ava scanned the screen. Above the maze, constellations shimmered faintly reflected in the blackened tiles below. Okay, think, Ava, she muttered, her fingers already moving. She shifted the fox onto the first tile that glimmered faintly with starlight, then another, her eyes darting between the sky and the maze as she mapped out the pattern. The fox leapt with precision, leaving trails of silver flame as Ava aligned it perfectly with the star map above. As the final tile was pressed, the maze roared to life, a new golden pathway unfurling before her. A triumphant fanfare blared and Oba Nobunga stepped aside, his imposing form melting into the shadows. Well played, traveler, his voice echoed as Ava's score counter erupted in a cascade of bonus points. The next challenge awaits. Do not falter. Ava exhaled sharply, a grin breaking across her face. Not bad, she muttered, gripping the joystick as the spectral fox surged forward, ready to face whatever the game threw at her next. The screen's colors darkened, the golden tiles fading into a swirling abyss of deep purple and black. From the corners of the screen, spindly clawed tendrils began creeping toward the fox, curling and lashing in an erratic rhythm. Of course, Ava muttered, her heart thudding in time with the pounding music that signaled an incoming challenge. The tendrils snapped at the fox, forcing her to weave left and right, narrowly avoiding their grasp. One clipped the creature's silver flame, and the screen flashed red, a warning. Gotta be faster, she murmured, gripping the joystick tighter. Ahead, the path split into jagged trails, each one treacherous and incomplete. Floating platforms hovered sporadically, their faint glows flickering like dying embers. Above them, an ominous countdown appeared. 14, 13, 12. No time to think, Ava hissed. She guided the fox toward the leftmost path, where the platforms shifted faster but seemed closer together. The fox leaped, its silver flames illuminating the void. But the platforms began to crumble beneath its paws as soon as it landed. Move, move, Ava cried, her fingers flying over the controls. Halfway across, the music shifted, an ominous drumbeat underscored by piercing mechanical shriek. Ava's eyes widened as a massive serpentine shadow burst forth from the depths, its fiery eyes locked on the fox, its body coiled around the pathway, forcing Ava to swerve and leap with the split-second precision. Come on, don't fail me now, she whispered, her teeth clenched. The fox twisted in midair, narrowly dodging the serpent's snapping jaws. Sparks erupted on the screen as the tail whipped across the final platform, shattering it. The fox was trapped, a gap yawning wide between it and the golden exit. With only seconds left on the timer, Ava spotted a glowing orb dancing precariously above the abyss. Bonus jump, she muttered, recognizing the game's cruel setup. She hit the sprint button, her fingers slamming into the controls as the fox launched itself into the void, snagging the orb mid-leap. A burst of energy engulfed the fox, propelling it across the gap and onto the shimmering exit tile just as the serpent lunged again. The screen froze for a moment, the serpent's jaws missing the fox's by a pixel width. A triumphant burst of light erupted and the maze dissolved into shimmering starlight. The words "staged cleared" crawled across the screen in bold golden letters. Ava slumped back against the stool, her chest rising and falling as she caught her breath. About time, she murmured, a triumphant grin spreading across her face. The game's screen transitioned to a swirling galaxy, teasing the next level. Ava's eyes gleamed with a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. All right, Shadow Circuit, she said, cracking her knuckles. Let's see what you've got next.